Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to tell you the perfect way to get your retirement visa with no problem. Your process is going to be flawless. No, I'm not. Alright, so welcome back to the channel. I just finished playing some pickleball. I'm just chilling in the shade because it is very hot. So today I want to talk about my visa journey. And I've had a few people email me and ask me, hey, talk about how to get your visa when you get over here. And there are 1,000 videos out there on the different types of visas that are available. And what I've learned just being here almost 2 years is that things change. And so in this video, I'm not going to tell you how to get your non-O immigrant visa. But what I will tell you about is my journey. Let's talk about that. All right, so let me take you back a ways. So I retired on August 19th, 2023 from the Lake County Sheriff's Office after 26 years. And from there, we had already started packing up and getting ready for our move. And finally, somewhere around September 27th, we took off from the United States and we landed in Vietnam. Now, I had visited Vietnam back in 2018 to Hanoi, and I fell in love with Hanoi. And I said, man, I could see myself living here. And so when we decided on Thailand, it was based on really my visit to this region. We had never stepped foot in Thailand before we decided to move here. But what I did do, and this is what I'm talking about, I'm hoping this journey helps you make that decision. Help you make a decision whether or not this is for you. So what I did was I jumped on Facebook groups. I talked to a lot of people via Messenger. And then I was able to talk to 7 people who, they decided, hey, Fred, we will talk to you. We'll give you what information we can give you. So they volunteered. That's the word I'm looking for. They volunteered to talk to me about their stay here in Chiang Mai. And these people range from being there a year to 5 years. One guy I talked to had been here for 15 years. So I took a lot of notes and I got a lot of knowledge from that. So when we finally flew out to Vietnam, we landed in Saigon and we spent a week there. And then we took a train for 19 hours down to Da Nang. And that was quite the adventure. So if you've ever seen prison bunks and they're stacked up on top of each other. So we were in a room with an elderly Vietnamese couple, and they slept on the bottom bunk, and my wife and I, we were each above one of them. So I was above, my bunk was above the husband, and her bunk was above the wife. And that was 19 hours, and it was quite the train ride. They brought us food. I think we had breakfast and dinner on that train, if I remember correctly. Yeah. And so it was quite the ride. We got down to Da Nang. We loved Da Nang. However, it was the rainy season, so we really didn't get to see as much as we wanted to see. So at first we were going to go from Vietnam to Dom Tien because my wife loves the beach. And the beach was an option, even though I had my mind set on Chiang Mai. My wife wanted to take a look at the beach. But by the time we had left the States, it had been about 2 weeks, and we had a friend of ours. We left Michonne with a friend of ours, so we found a place. Because one thing that we learned is that apartments or condos will not take dogs, and if you're planning on renting a house, you have to find one that will allow pets. So we wanted to come over here, get established first, and then send back for Michonne. But by the time those 2 weeks were up, we were really kind of missing her. And so Dana and I decided to fly to Chiang Mai, see if we like Chiang Mai, If we do, we'll find a place. If not, we'll go back down to the beach. So we landed in Chiang Mai. We stayed at a Airbnb, and we really started to miss Michonne, but we fell in love. We fell in love with Chiang Mai. We were busy going into the old city, checking out all the restaurants, going to temples, and during this period, time was flying by. And what I mean by that, if I remember correctly, we came in on a 30-day visa, I believe, and it wasn't 60 days at that time. And so we finally made our way, after a few weeks of just watching everything. We found a house immediately. We put an ad on Facebook Marketplace in Chiang Mai. I think it was Expats of Chiang Mai that we put an ad that we were looking for, at least a 2-bedroom that will accept pets. Our current landlord, he contacted us. He came and picked us up from the Airbnb, and he took us way outside of Chiang Mai, about 30 minutes to his village, which I've just recently done a video on, and we just fell in love with it. So now we're starting the visa process. And so we're applying for the non-O immigrant visa for retirement. So when we got there, the first thing that the agent had to do was get us an extension. And so we applied for an extension, and we got the ball rolling. That was another 30-day extension. So here's something to keep in mind, folks, and that's why I want to tell our journey. When you apply for your visa, it can really make a difference where you're, what time of the year you're applying. In the winter months, I guess, October, November, those type of months, there are a lot of holidays. And if there are holidays, then government offices are going to be closed. So you're going to miss out on a lot of days. And that's what happened to us. And what I mean by missing out on a lot of days, we had got an extension, and then we could not get another extension. We had to make a border run. And what we did there was, by that time, fast forward a few more weeks, and we now have Michonne. We had flown her in. She is now part of our life, and we did not know enough people or know a person at the time that could recommend a dog sitter for us. So what Dan and I decided to do was, she would go first, and she would get, oops, sorry, got bit by an ant. She would go first, and she would get her extension, and then come back, and then I will go in a couple of more days from there. So it was 5,000 baht in order to take the bus from, they have different central locations they would pick you up. So they picked her up at the Central Festival Mall, went all the way to Laos. I want to say that's about a 4.5 hour ride. And went to Laos, she got stamped, she came back, no problem. They gave us another 30 days. And during that time, when she got back, I went. Now, my journey was not as smooth. So by the time I got here, I started growing this, okay, which did not match my passport. So when I got to Laos, that's the border we went to, there was about 12 of us on a van. And everyone went through, I was the last person. And so the immigration officer right there, he looked at my passport, he looked at me, and he asked, did I have another ID? So I took up my driver's license, and guess what? My driver's license looked just like my passport. Clean shaven, former law enforcement officer, did not look like my current picture, how I look now. So he's sitting there and he's trying to figure out what he's going to do. The bus driver came inside to see what was going on, why it was taking so long, and he talked to the bus driver, and after a few minutes he gave me the stamp to come back into Thailand. So I tell you that story to tell you, if you're going to make some extreme changes to your appearance that does not match your passport, you may run into some problems. All right, so we got the extension, and now we go to get our visa. So what did I have? I had my form from the state of Florida that talked about how much I would get monthly for my pension. I also had a copy of our marriage license. I had bank statements from back home. I had our passport that had at least 6 months left on it. It actually had a couple years left on it. And I brought all of that. Now, here's where I ran into a problem. So what I thought I could do was I could be the primary, which is 800,000 baht in a Thai bank, and then sponsor my wife on mine. And so when we went to do that, he asked for the marriage license. And what I did not know, what I seem to have missed, is if you want to get it where you're sponsoring your spouse, it has to be apostilled, or I guess certified, outside of Thailand. If not, she would have to have her separate retirement visa. And you know, you're talking about an extra, at the time, 24,000 US dollars. So, you know, he said you can take a chance and go back out. We don't know if it's going to work if you go back out and get it apostilled. I don't know what that means. But anyway, we decided to get her on. We talked about pros and cons. And so she had her own retirement visa. Now, I see a lot of questions that one of those, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Because people say you need a Thai bank account to get a visa, but you need a visa to get a Thai bank account. So you're running around in circles. Ours was simple. So once we got the ball rolling, they made an appointment for us to meet at the Bangkok Bank at the airport plaza. And so it's funny, we were new to riding a motorbike. I hadn't ridden one in years, but we had rented one. And so that long trip from our village outside of Chiang Mai city all the way to the airport plaza in traffic was about 45 minutes. And so we got there and we met the agent from Thai Visa Assist. And he did the communication with the bank teller. We signed a ton of documents, and I think we had to pay, I want to say it was 4,000, maybe 450 baht, I believe, just to open the account. And from there, it took a few days, but I was able to use the Wise account to transfer 850,000 baht to my bank account. And then I got Dana's bank account number, and I transferred the same amount to her Bangkok bank account. And so that was another step that we had gotten out of the way. Some of the questions people ask me, and I see it online, that says for this non-O immigrant visa that it may require a criminal background check. We did not have to go through that. They didn't ask about that. I don't know if they ran one, but it did not come up in conversation or anything like that. The only thing that we asked was what was my former employment and what was Dana's former employment, and we had to put down on that. And so let me just refresh. So a copy of our bank statement, a copy of my pension. We didn't need health insurance because we were applying here in Thailand, so we didn't have to get the health insurance. The marriage license I mentioned, and I think that was the paperwork, along with our passports, of course. But that was pretty much the paperwork that we needed. Now here's the thing: after we had done all of that, we talked to some neighbors, and they said that they were pretty adamant that they were not open two accounts, and it would be one account, and that the spouse would be a sponsor on it, and that's what they did. So just check with your agent and make sure what you need in order if you want to sponsor your spouse. The good thing about having the separate accounts at the time was that if something happened to me, Dana would not have to go through the process, to get her on. Because if you're sponsoring your spouse and you were to go first, then your spouse would have to go and apply for their own visa. And that's something to think about. And I think within a few weeks, we had our visa, and that was it. So what would I have done differently? So what I would have done differently is I probably would have taken a trip over here. Not that I regret that we found the perfect place for what we need at the time, but I would have taken a trip over here, and I would have sat down with a visa agent and just kind of say, what do I need for whatever kind of visa you're looking for, and have that face-to-face conversation. Now, I did email a visa agency and went back and forth a little bit, but here's the reality, folks. You know, the visa agents are busy. They don't know who really wants to use their services or who are just kicking the tires. So I would make an effort just to sit in front and bring your questions and know what forms you need before you move over here. If there's any questions, I think that's very important, and I think it would have saved us a little trouble. I mean, it could have been worse for us. As far as cost, if I remember correctly, we paid 20,000 baht each to initiate and get our visas. So we're talking 40,000 baht. And that's pretty much the journey that we had as far as getting over here and getting our retirement visa. Now, something changed. I started hearing about this DTV visa, Destination Thailand visa. And we decided, I looked into that, I did some research on that. I'm thinking, man, why can't we switch to this right here? It's cheaper, it's a 5-year visa, it may be perfect. And so we decided to go with the Destination Thailand visa. Now, once again, there's so many different ways to get the Destination Thailand visa. The route Dana and I went was for medical. So Dana sees a hormone specialist on a monthly basis. And so we decided to get a letter. We went and got a letter. But then we decided, do we want to do this on our own? There is a Facebook group called Destination Thailand Visa where hundreds of people do this on their own. I'm going to tell you why we didn't. So we go to Settle In Abroad and we ask about it. And I had already knew what I needed to bring in. So it was the bank account showing at least 500,000 baht, either in an American account or a Thai account, and also a letter from the doctor showing that Dana will be going to receiving medical treatment there. Now, little things like this, where I think it was worth investing in the the Settle In Abroad agency. What she said was to Dana when we were sitting together, the agent said, you should look at having your doctor write a letter that gives specific monthly dates for at least the next 6 months on your on the appointments that you have. And she said that has a better way of getting approved if you have the actual dates that you're going to be going back to this doctor. So we went back to the doctor, we got another letter and brought it back to her, and that worked. She looked over all our paperwork and made sure everything was in order, and then submitted the paperwork. And so in March, we flew to Cambodia, and that's when things got interesting. So we landed in Cambodia with a visa on arrival. And what we decided to do was, we decided that Dana would be the primary on the Destination Thailand visa, and she would sponsor me. And so we only need the one 500,000 baht account in the bank. And the good thing was, once we got there, we had to let them know where we were staying at, our flight number, all that information we had to have. And so the agency submitted our application. And they said it'd be about 2 weeks in order to get approved. And it was like right on 2 weeks when Dana got her approval letter. With that said, now that Dana's been approved as a primary, now I can be approved. And so they submitted my paperwork, which normally takes 3 to 4 days. So 3 days go by, 4 days go by, 5 days go by. And so I contacted Settle In Abroad, and they said they would look into it for me. And they did. And they told me it's just very busy. And they're going to get back, that you are in the queue, you know. And it ended up being about 2 weeks that it took for me to get mine. So if you looked at my Cambodia video, Dana stayed about 3 weeks, and then she wanted to get home. I wanted her to get home. And we had put Michonne up at a doggy daycare, so to speak. And so she went home to get her, and I waited out that second week for my visa to be approved. And so, you know, I was on these accounts. I was on the Facebook page, Destination Thailand Visa, and I was talking to a couple of guys in Cambodia that they were waiting on theirs to get approved. And then some other people came aboard. Now, Cambodia was very busy that time trying to process immigration, trying to process these visas. What I found was there were a few people that were denied the visa. And when you are denied, they didn't tell them why they were denied. And I honestly believe because my application was submitted at the same time as a lot of these other applications, I really think because I had the backing of an agency that it was worth it for me and Dana to go that route. And like I said, I do not second guess anybody who decides to save money and, you know, do it themselves. But you probably heard me say on the channel before, you know, measure twice and cut once. And that's what an agency helped me do. Maybe down the road, I'll be brave and bold enough to start doing my own everything when it comes to the visa. But in the meantime, I continue to learn what to do and how to do it. But my time is very valuable to me, especially the older I get. So if I could streamline some things and not run into any problems, then, you know, that's what I would do. So that is my visa journey. And, you know, you're coming over here, you do not have to do this alone, okay? So in the next video, the very next video after this video, I'm going to introduce you to Settle In Abroad. It is the agency that I use, and I just think they did a phenomenal job. And yeah, I hope you look that one up when it goes live. So folks, I really hope this helped you. I hope it helps you make a decision. I hope it helps you, you know, avoid some of the things that I did, you know, to make your transition over here even smoother. Now, the Destination Thai Visa is considered a tourist visa, so be careful with that. I've heard people say they can't open accounts on that. But what I think it is good for is if you just want to get your feet wet and you say, I'm not ready to really dive full into Thailand, I think that is a good visa to help you make that decision. You come over here on a 5-year visa, if it's for dental care or whatever the case may be, you're able to travel around and look at Bangkok, look down at the beach area at Phuket, Pattaya, some of the other places, and see if it's for you. Then I think that's a good option. But personally, I know people, like I said, have a hard time opening bank accounts on that visa. So take a closer look and see what option is best for you. That is all I got for you today. Folks, I want to thank you. I just hit 5,000 subscribers, and I really appreciate you. I appreciate you stepping in every week and taking a listen. And I don't take this for granted. And so I love you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for being a part of Dana and I's journey. And I will see you in the next video.